A new entitlement and welfare package has been conceived and unveiled by the Department of Migrant Workers to uplift the lives of the country's economy. The country's domestic workers comprise 20% of the total OFW force. It includes a higher minimum pay of at least $500, reskilling and or upskilling opportunities, and email correspondence program to regularly check on their living or working status and welfare. As our Noel Talacay has more.
Complete package for the rights and welfare of Filipino domestic workers abroad. This is the full description of the newly enhanced reform for Filipino domestic workers of the Department of Migrant Workers, or DMW. One of its components is the salary increase from $400 to $500.
Ang maging basis nito is our consultations with our stakeholders, kasi very broad, no? Unlike the minimum wage increases here that can be scientifically pegged depending on the cost of living per region, sa atin across the board kasi for the whole world. So we had to consider yung base o yung floor level at yung expenses ng mga OFWs in their respective countries of origin, and a rate that will be common or acceptable to all stakeholders all around the world.
In the press conference by the DMW today, Kakdak emphasized that the $500 is just a floor or base salary. It might increase depending on the country that an overseas Filipino workers or OFW will be working in, or it will depend on the skills of the OFW. That's why another component of the enhanced reform is the reskilling, upskilling, and career mobility of OFWs or domestic helper.
May potential na dumagdag yung idadagdag namin, magpapataw kami ng minimum when a domestic worker increases his or her skill sets.
Also part of enhanced reforms is the annual medical exam. Domestic workers abroad can have their yearly health checkup to accredited hospitals abroad. Kakdak says that in the future, these benefits will be mandatory.
So ang first phase muna is voluntary. Kung sino ang gusto magpa-annual medical, yun ang pauunlak ka na.
While another component is Kumusta Ka Bayan Digital Welfare Monitoring System. Domestic workers abroad will receive a Kumusta email from OWA. It's one way of checking the current status or situation of a domestic worker. According to DMW, there are 100 to 150 personnel who will respond and take actions to their email replies.
Meron namang identification marks dun sa email that will show na legitimate government entity. But part of recognizing the emails and our Kamusta Ka Bayan efforts is also announcements like this.
Mandatory video conference between employers and domestic workers will be implemented before he or she will leave the country and sign a contract. Under the enhanced reform program, it is called Know Your Employer Protocol.
Kasi sa ngayon, umaalis yung domestic worker nang hindi niya nakikita o kilala yung pupuntahan niyang employer. Allow the worker to gain direct knowledge of jobs, duties, workplace conditions, household composition, rest periods, and accommodation.
He says that the said four components of the newly enhanced reform for Filipino domestic workers will take effect 6 months after being signed. There are 3 more components, but the agency has actually already been implementing it. Between 100,000 to 200,000 Filipinos leave the country to work as domestic workers per year. This accounts for 20 to 30% of the total number of registered OFWs worldwide. Noel Talacay from the National TV Network for New and Better Philippines.